Picture this. It's June 16, 2026. You're inside MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, right? Surrounded by 82,000 screaming fans. Just a massive sea of blue jerseys. Suddenly, the ball zips in from the right. One touch, and in a flash so blazingly fast the defender literally barely registers it, the net just bulges. Kylian Mbappé has just beautifully crafted France's first goal of the 2026 World Cup against Senegal. The stadium absolutely explodes. His name is echoing across 82,000 throats. The cameras pan to his face, and he's got that signature look. Not surprise, not relief, just pure confirmation. Like he knew exactly what was going to happen all along. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to look at a story the highlight reels completely miss.
I mean, let's just take a second to look at the reality of his life right now. At just 27 years old, Kylian Mbappé is undeniably one of the most famous human beings on planet Earth. He operates in an entirely different stratosphere of success. To put it into perspective for you, he makes more money in a single week than most of us will see in an entire decade. It's wild! We're talking billions of followers, staggering contracts, and a legacy that most athletes can literally only dream of.
But here is the real hook for today's Explainer. Sure, he scored today, but almost nobody knows his real story. We're going to look way past the glitz, the goals, and the whole glamour of it all. Because long before the packed stadiums and the unimaginable wealth, there was just a boy in a French housing project with a football, a poster of Cristiano Ronaldo on his wall, and a neighborhood the rest of the world had pretty much completely written off. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on his roots, and man, we are diving deep into the vicious, billion-dollar corporate battles he had to fight behind closed doors.
Because to really understand the man, you absolutely have to understand where he came from. Mbappé was born in Paris, sure, but he grew up in Bondy. Now, Bondy is part of what they call the banlieue. These are the working-class Parisian suburbs pushed right out to the edges of the city. His mom, Faiza Lamari, is of Algerian descent, and his dad, Wilfried Mbappé, emigrated from Cameroon. And get this, both of them were serious athletes. His mom was a pro handball player, and his dad was actually a football coach. So from day one, his dad is nurturing his talent, but also having real talks with him about the stark realities of life. Because out in Bondy, those realities carry some serious heavy weight.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive contrast between the Paris you see in the movies and the Paris Mbappé actually knows. On one side, you've got tourist Paris, right? Cafes, cobblestones, the glowing Eiffel Tower, the whole shebang. But on the other side, you have the banlieues. We're talking gray concrete housing projects thrown up in the 60s and 70s, specifically for immigrant workers from North Africa, West Africa, the Caribbean, people who were literally brought in to build the economy, and then, well, just kind of forgotten. It was right there, in those narrow streets and small concrete courts, that a 6-year-old Mbappé would literally sleep holding a football and obsessively watch matches.
That intense environment, it acted like a pressure cooker, building an absolutely incredible trajectory. Listen to this. At age 6, while playing for AS Bondy, his coach Antonio Riccardi flat out said he was the best kid he had ever coached, and probably the best he ever would coach. By 11, Real Madrid's youth setup is already inviting him over, though he decides to stay in France, eventually making it into the elite Clairefontaine Academy. Fast forward to 16, and he does the unthinkable. He makes his professional debut for AS Monaco in Ligue 1, playing against fully grown men. And by 18, he had already led Monaco to a French league title, a Champions League semifinal, and locked in a record-shattering transfer to Paris Saint-Germain.
Just look at that number, $217 million. That is the exact fee Paris Saint-Germain dropped in 2017 to sign him. It was the second highest transfer fee of all time. Try to just wrap your head around that for a second. A massive corporate entity shelling out $217 million for an 18-year-old kid from a forgotten housing project. This staggering financial investment, it completely set the board. It established the absolute highest stakes possible for the massive power struggle that was looming right on the horizon.
But hey, before the corporate wars kicked off, there was international glory. Let's rewind to the 2018 World Cup in Russia. A 19-year-old Mbappé is out there playing like a seasoned veteran who's been doing this for a decade. He becomes the youngest French player ever to score in a World Cup. He nets 4 goals in the tournament, including an absolute stunner in the final against Croatia. He wins the Best Young Player award and helps France secure the ultimate prize. And for a deeply divided France at the time, seeing the son of Cameroonian and Algerian immigrants hoist the World Cup, man, that was a profoundly unifying cultural moment.
So what exactly did he do when the ultimate global spotlight was on him? Well, take a look at this figure, $22,300. That's what Mbappé earned for every single match he played in that 2018 World Cup.
And at just 19 years old, he turned around and donated every single penny of his tournament earnings to a charity organizing sporting events for kids with disabilities. Every penny. The boy from Bondy, holding the biggest trophy in the world, just gave his prize money away. I mean, if that doesn't prove exactly what kind of character he had long before the drama started, I don't know what does.
Okay, let's dive right into this darker chapter, the betrayal, a press conference built on a lie.
Because after that World Cup, things between Mbappé and PSG just evolved into a bitter dispute. The entire story shifted away from the football pitch and straight into the boardrooms. It turned into one of the most secretive legal brawls in the history of professional sports. Honestly, almost nobody outside of Europe truly grasps the sheer scale of what went down. The deception kicked off in May 2022. PSG held this massive, triumphant press conference. The chairman's up there proudly handing Mbappé a jersey with the year 2025 boldly printed on the back. It signaled to the whole world that their superstar had inked a long-term extension. Cameras flashing, fans going wild, right? But it was all a press conference built on a lie. In reality, the actual binding legal terms only kept him in Paris until 2024. The jersey said 2025, but the actual contract, 2024.
So when June 2023 rolled around, Mbappé completely stunned PSG by casually informing them, hey, I'm not triggering that option for an extra year. He was going to leave in 2024 for absolutely nothing, free transfer. PSG's retaliation to this was just extraordinary. They left him completely off the squad's preseason tour to Japan and South Korea. They publicly isolated him. They literally forced one of the best players on planet Earth to train entirely away from the first team. Oh, and they even withheld his salaries and his bonuses. This wasn't just about football anymore, guys. This was a massive institution trying to exert total, absolute control over a human being.
So, the crucial point is how he fought back. The counterattack, the $66 million legal war.
Because Mbappé didn't just quietly take the punishment. No way. He turned a simple contract dispute into an all-out, incredibly bitter legal war. He publicly accused PSG of moral harassment and attempted extortion, basically dragging the battleground off the green grass of the stadium and right into the stark, serious chambers of the Paris labor courts. And boom, here is the result, $66.4 million. In December 2025, the Paris Labor Tribunal delivered a massive, decisive ruling directly in favor of the player. The court ordered the mighty Paris Saint-Germain to pay Mbappé nearly $66.4 million in unpaid wages, bonuses, and contractual obligations. He took one of the absolute wealthiest sporting institutions on the planet to court, and he actually won.
Let's just trace the escalation of this unbelievable spectacle for a second. Step 1. The tribunal orders this massive payment. Step 2. When PSG tries to drag their feet and doesn't fully pay up, a literal bailiff arrives at the super luxurious headquarters of this billionaire football club to collect the debt. Just imagine the scene. Someone actually showing up to collect a debt from PSG. Step 3. Simultaneously, 2 judges in Paris get assigned to formally investigate Mbappé's complaint of moral harassment against the club. The kid from the banlieue was holding a global superpower entirely accountable. Which leads us right to the ultimate power move. In the summer of 2024, Kylian Mbappé finally walked through the doors of the Santiago Bernabeu to join his childhood dream club, Real Madrid. And the transfer fee? €0. The club that originally paid $217 million to get him was forced to stand by and watch the most powerful player in the world walk away for absolutely nothing. He played their system brilliantly, and he left entirely on his exact terms.
Today, despite all the madness, his character remains completely intact. He now proudly captains the French national team. And when the Saudi League came knocking with a jaw-dropping $200 million offer in 2023, he turned it down flat, basically saying that playing at the highest level of football mattered way more than the money. Furthermore, he created an entire foundation specifically designed to support the youth in France's forgotten housing projects. Through it all, he never forgot Bondy.
I'm going to leave you with this really powerful quote from Mbappé. I want to show that it's possible, that you can come from where I come from and get there. So when you watch him score in that 2026 World Cup, I want you to remember everything it actually took for him to get there. He didn't just conquer football, guys. He fought for what he was rightfully owed. He conquered a billion-dollar institution in court, and he is still standing tall. Does knowing his real battles change how you'll watch his next match? Keep that in mind next time he takes the pitch. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.